Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Hobbydude 007 channel and Model Cars and Coffee with Hobbydude. Today I want to share with you a build from 2019. It's a 1920s police car, a Popo car, part of my law enforcement vehicle collection, and it was so much fun from that era. I actually scratch built a backdrop for it, and you know what? Let's take a look. Bring your model to life with MCV products. Visit them on the World Wide Web at mcvproducts.net. As many of you may recall, myself and my three younger brothers have all served in law enforcement. Two of us are retired now, and two are still actively walking that thin blue line. But we've all had a great appreciation for law enforcement vehicles over the years, and I've collected everything from Hot Wheels and Matchbox to you name it, all kinds of police cars and TV cars, that kind of stuff. And just love it, just love it. But law enforcement over the many years, way before us, has dramatically changed. Crime fighters are a lot different than they used to be. And I'm not talking about just the guys, I mean the ladies too. Well, until the 1920s, many of the police departments around the United States still rode horseback as well as used wagons and buggies. They did this to patrol as well as to transport prisoners. Well, the first motorized motor vehicle in the United States was accredited to the Akron, Ohio Police Department. In 1899, they bought from the Collins Buggy Company for $2,400 the first motorized, as I said, police vehicle. This had two electric motors, had a top speed of a whopping 16 to 18 miles an hour, and had a range of about 30 miles. An interesting story about this thing is, well, there's a couple interesting stories. First up, it would carry up to, you could pack a dozen police officers into it, or an entire squad. So, hey, it's a squad car. Secondly, in about 1901, there was someone that had been arrested, and there was a lynch mob in Akron that was looking for this guy, and they approached City Hall and the police department with bombs and bricks and destroyed City Hall and the police department. Well, at the same time, they took control of this Collins police vehicle and they threw it into the Ohio Canal. The next day it was retrieved, cleaned up, and put back into service. But, well, that shows how tough those old things were. But I hate to even share this part, but it was sold for scrap in 1905 for $25. But if you look at it really good in these pictures, it almost would be easy to scratch build, but I'm going to look into that. I wouldn't mind having one of these. I've looked and I've never been able to find a model of it anywhere. Anyway, over the years, many other police departments started coming along with different police vehicles, both electric and gas, and that continued to grow. And the U.S. government got involved, and I just love this U.S. Marshals Dakota Territory. Look at the wood sides. Isn't that just cool? But they got involved with them too, and over the years this just continued to grow through Prohibition, and of course we all know of the great Paddy Wagons and to transport people as well. Well, over the years, as I said, many things, advancements have changed, and as you see here, this patrol car, this New York City patrol car, interesting little story on these things. The officers from this one, the 7th Precinct, would have to go by the police department about every half an hour to an hour just to get a list of calls in their area. Then they would go respond to them. Of course, there was no radios back then. And after the telephone came out, you had police call boxes, and they could call the station and get their calls every half hour or so. And of course, then came the radios. This is a Packard Paddy Wagon. And again, I just love this old stuff. Well, the project that I am going to share with you today started off as a 23T delivery van. I was in Hobby Lobby one day, and in their clearance section there was this, and it was dirt cheap, and I thought, well, I'm going to pick that up. I got just the thing in mind. So this is where I started. And by the way, this kit is a really nice kit. Had a lot of decals, the antique auto parts on the box top, as well as antique boutique thing here, and just overall pretty good decals as it was. Well, what I wanted to do was a Paddy Wagon, as you see here. And I want to share with you a few things about this kit as we go through. And it was really fun. The paint scheme I cannot take credit for. The red wheels, I saw this online somewhere with the blue and black trim, and just like that Packard, I just really just like that. But it really went together well. I enjoyed the dark blue. That's Testors, by the way, just Testors dark blue, not just the regular, but dark. Pretty much everything on this was painted with Testors. And then the dark red on the wheels. Now the seat was actually just a bench without a back, but this kit comes with the seats for the depot hack, so I just added the seat back to it. I thought that looked a little better. From the front here, you see the crank for the engine, and that high and narrow stance of these old cars, but very cool nonetheless. The engine, just a little old 4-cylinder Ford engine, but it would pull the weight of these things. And these things were not very heavy cars. The top, the windshield panel, the entire floor, everything was wood. Different forms of plank and flat plywood. And as you see on the roof here, what I did with this is just shot it in a flat black, and then I took a couple of the Tamiya weathering master kits and different colors, and I wanted to give it a little bit of a worn look on the top, so I kind of streaked it going back over that flat black, and I think it turned out pretty well. The interior, I did the same thing. You see the wood and the wood paneled floor down there, and I used that same weathering kit or weathering kits to kind of dirty those up a little bit. And the driver's seat side, I dirtied that up where it had a little wear on it from someone sitting there. And of course, with these C-cabs having no doors or windows on the sides, at this time, dirt would get inside of them pretty easily, and you were on dirt and brick road. And a look there at the pedals and the two gauges. Underneath, you see the bottom of the engine, and again, I just used the weathering kit to kind of dirty that up a little bit. I think that turned out really pretty well. The wood grain and the floorboard and underneath the, well, on both sides, inside and underneath the truck, I simply sprayed that flat black and went back with a brown, a dark brown, a light brown, dry brushing, a little bit of gray because I wanted to give it that little bit of a worn look there, just lightly dry brushing through that. And the light's a little bright on that shot. Here you can see it looks a little bit darker, but you can see the wood there. Now to display this, I wanted to have something unique. So I went to my stash of Plastruct and pulled out brick, two different kinds of brick actually. One of them for the jail itself was more of a rock, a large rock brick type, I guess you'd call that brick. But it looked more like rock. And then the roads, the streets wise, you see the red brick down there. I know in the city I grew up in, there was a time, and still there are some sections of road that are still red brick, and under the asphalt, as well as some of it restored and exposed. But that used to be the main thing in a lot of cities up until the 1950s, were the red brick road. And what I did with this, again, this is Plastruct, and all I did was got some craft paint in a light gray, thinned it down and made a wash and washed it between the bricks so you get that mortar look. And as you see here, where the water would run down the side of the jail side building, where it would collect and be down at the bottom where it would splash and stuff like that, you have a little bit of a stain, almost not really green, but kind of a greenish, like a mold or something along the bottom of the building. But I thought that gave it a good look. And of course, here's the back of the jail, and you see the water stains where it runs down beside the exposed bars there. And then a close-up of those. And I achieved this with those same Tamiya Weathering Master. I don't have one sitting out in front of me, but it's something like that anyway, different things, and to create those stains. And the pads that come with them really look good. And here, of course, is the vehicle sitting in front of it, and I think it made a nice backdrop for it, and that's the way I have it sitting on the shelf at home. But I think this turned out really cool. And as you see in these different angles, the jail and the bricks. And lastly, I'm going to be adding, I made the backdrop big enough for two vehicles, and as you see here, there is already kind of a squad car that will be parked beside that, and it'll be painted in the same paint scheme and same precinct numbers. Now let's take a look at it on the turntable. And here is our 1923 Ford Paddy Wagon. This thing was a really fun build, an easy build, guys. If you wanted to do a delivery truck or a Paddy Wagon, this would be a great place to start. This was a really easy kit to build, and I think it turned out really, really well. I'd mentioned the floorboards from the firewall back, as well as the firewall and the windshield frames are actually wood. The roof, and what I didn't mention is that the spokes on the wheels are actually wood as well. You'll see in a lot of pictures of some of them are bare wood with just varnish on them, and some are painted. But again, this was a fun build. Another thing great fun was the backdrop, the jail and the brick roadway and parking area there. A lot of fun to do that. In fact, that's inspired me to do a backdrop for just a garage for a photography backdrop, and I'll be doing that one in a video to show you how. So that's coming up, but I thought my vintage jail there looked pretty cool. But guys, that is it. Our 1923 early on Paddy Wagon, really cool. And in closing, I want to share a picture of a Paddy Wagon / SWAT team truck that the department I worked with used back in the 80s and early 90s before it was swapped out for an armored vehicle. But in the comments, see if you can pick out Hobbydude in this SWAT team. And where am I in that picture? I am in there. See if you can find me. Guys, God bless. Hope y'all have an awesome week, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a bunch, guys.